crystal knob and things.
The crystal knob. I hope you can hear that on camera, because the noise of this thing. Hi guys, Tappy, hope you're all keeping well. Quick video this week, the iX M60 from BMW. Numbers, 611 brake horsepower, 749 pound-foot of torque. It's a beast. Closer to 3 tons than it is 2. Very impressive looking car. We're going to take a walk around it, going to go out for a drive in it, look at the ins and outs of what it's all about, get a feel for it. I've already heard it, and I have to tell you now, it's probably got the most bonkers EV sound I've heard to date, which is great. BMW making a real effort here to try and make the car sound as good as possible. It's had good reviews, good feedback, so we're going to see what it's like in the real world. Let's go. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Massively appreciated. Thank you. So here we are out in the iX M60 being driven by my chauffeur, of course, for the day. Keith. Keith's been on the channel before. Definitely an EV fanatic, and the EV stable for him is growing and growing. So we've got the EQS 450, this, the M60, and ID3. So really, I guess we could say that you're a fan of EV.
Yes, and from a year ago when we were testing that Audi e-tron about a year and a half ago,
which never materialised.
Never materialised.
Yeah. So why did you decide to buy this? We spoke about the numbers earlier. People can look this up if they want. So would you mind disclosing what you pay for one of these?
I think it was about 107 or a little over 110. I can't remember what it was.
Something like that. Well, the list is 120, so you got a good deal there. Next up, getting in and out of this thing is an absolute breeze. Getting in and out my Taycan is a nightmare of gymnastic proportions, but this is really easy. Door opens wonderfully, loads of room, step in, and there you are. Really nice. So the interior, this is very cool. It's BMW's iNext design approach. So you've got this huge dash that runs all the way across there. Probably, I think, 3.8 miles from end to end. Steering wheel is very nice as well. Really kind of cool, funky shape that they've got here. Some very cool features. So we'll just start that. You get that cool, funky sound. And if we stick it into reverse, you'll get this very cool surround view and the ability to go into the outside of the car, like almost an out of body experience, to look at where your wheels are in relation to the curb. But some very cool features here. But on the whole, it's minimal. It's a very, very minimal interior. Very cool LCD blackout panoramic roof there. At the touch of a button it will darken or lighten, but they have done a very nice job of keeping this interior as minimal as possible, but at the same time I would say it feels very futuristic. Another little BMW design idiosyncrasy here is to open the doors. No handle, no nothing. It's just a press of a button and that's it. The door opens, which is quite nice if you remember that it does that, because I often forget. Did you tick any extras?
I did have a couple of the extras, but not very much. I mean, I actually was sort of not quite sure whether to have the crystal knob and things.
The crystal knob. I hope you can hear that on camera, because the noise of this thing, we have to speak about it. Right? It's the first thing I noticed. We all know EVs lack theatre. People say, oh, they don't sound good, they're boring, they're dull. The Taycan makes a noise. It's probably a little bit quiet. The e-tron, that RS GT, also makes a pretty cool noise as well, but again, quite quiet. This thing, they've turned the volume up to 11. And it sounds like a genuine Starship Enterprise NCC 1701 or whatever it was. Warp speed, acceleration. It's crazy. It's really quite good fun. And the power and torque of this thing is brutal. It's a very, very quick car for a car that weighs 2.6 tons. The The interior, we'll have a look around that on a dedicated little snapshot I've taken earlier, but it's a really comfortable place to be. The ride is massively sublime. It is probably, I'd say it feels even better than that EQS 450 in terms of comfort. Right?
Well, the interior of the EQS is absolutely gorgeous. It's sort of cosseting. It's that almost like an armchair on wheels, so to speak. But the overall feel of, if you like, the comfort driving and everything else, this is so much more responsive. It feels better. It's it just really is much more of a driver's car. And dare I say it, I may look old and I may have the shape of an old person, but
you're only as old as you feel.
Yeah, and that's what the problem with the EQS is. I mean, it feels like you should be doddering on your last legs or whatever it is to be able to drive one.
Right, so quick walk around the car. Absolutely stunning design, I have to say. They've done an excellent job in helping this car to look as purposeful and as meaningful as possible. It really does look fabulous. Not too many sticky out bits, obviously trying to keep it as aerodynamic as possible, which is very important when you're an EV and you need to save those electrons for your miles. Big old wheels here, stainless steel brakes on this, blue calipers, M obviously shining through, looking very cool there, but very comfortable, quite thick rubber on it, which adds to that driving refinement, which we'll see later. Door handles, they're not the pop-out ones, which you'd expect to see on most EVs these days. Pretty standard, indented handles like that, nice and easy to use. Coming around the back as well, you've got that little iX logo there, and the back end of this is probably my favourite part. Really nice, minimal design with those lights there. They just look so cool. Very futuristic, bit of a diffuser action going on down the bottom there, which is very nice, but really lovely. And of course, that M60 badge. And no fuel going in there, obviously. It's an EV, so plug in, but really, really nice design. I think they've aced this. Of course, we've got to talk about this, the grille. It's a hot topic in a lot of BMWs, and yeah, getting bigger and bigger, I think, as time goes on. But on this, it's not a problem because it's a big car and it marries in well. If you've got this on a smaller car, for example, an M4, it can start to look a little bit weird, I think. But on this, it really does work well. Those front lights as well with that little blue accent there. Very nice indeed. Yeah, it works. They've done a good job of this. Well done.
It's comfortable, it's quiet, but it's not fun.
I think one of the reasons you got that was the space, right? I remember you saying, and the range as well.
Range. Yeah, so I mean, still nothing to touch it on range.
Yeah. But it takes 3.5 weeks to charge up. Because the battery's so big.
Because the battery's so big and it also charges quite slowly. I think this car isn't that far from it either.
Yeah, just over 100 kilowatt hour battery, so pretty big. And the range on this is?
I would say it's about 300.
Which is good.
The difficulty, as you know, it's
a real 300.
It's a real 300.
Yeah.
I think that it is used to, and it is calculating that people will be using it as a proper driver's car, not trying to drive to save battery.
Yeah.
Because that I don't do. I just drive.
Why bother buying a car like this if you're not going to have a little bit of fun in
it? Within the appropriate speed limits,
of course. So 90 and a 30 at all times, right? But as you say, I mean, that is exactly the point here. I think the range is pretty good if you're getting a real world 300. The Taycan, I've got to say, I am disappointed. I knew it was a low range when I was buying it, so people say on a Turbo S you're looking at 220. On a good day, that's at 100%. I charged at 85, 90 to try and preserve the battery a little. But honestly, right now in the winter, I'm probably seeing about 170, 180 miles, so this thing spends a lot of time plugged in
charge,
but it's bonkers. It's next level speed, so the motors they draw a lot of current, a lot of power. But yeah, this has got room to hide a big battery quite easy. the tub as well, it's an aluminium and carbon tub in this thing, which is very cool. You can actually see that when you look at it from the outside. So I think BMW has spent a lot of time R&D'ing this thing, right, and making it something very good.
Yeah, if they had to go and make something and do something and make it special, because let's face it, the #1 brand for EVs, Tesla, is Spartan. It's very, very, well, it's just functional. I don't find them at all attractive.
Yeah.
Whereas this is an attractive car. It certainly drives well, very comfortable, really planted on the ground, four-wheel drive. It really is a driver's car.
That's what BMW is supposed to be all about. So you'd say they've captured that M spirit in this car, right?
I think that's probably it. Bearing in mind this is the first BMW I've ever had. And it's strange. I mean, I've been looking for faults.
Call yourself a driver, and this is the first.
I know.
Wow.
But the reality is that I've never been attracted to BMWs that much. And if there is one fault here, it's not the car; it's BMW itself.
On what grounds?
They've decided that I asked about whether I could get cameras on the navigation, so when you're driving along it comes up and says,
speed.
There's a speed camera.
Right, yeah, which is good, because it's just a money grab.
Yeah, so BMW decide that they'll have a money grab and you can get it, but it's on subscription. And everybody's trying to get recurring revenue.
Exactly, that annuity, that recurring revenue stream. BMW, there was another subscription service that was really poo-pooed, and I can't remember what it was. It was in the automotive press recently. I'll maybe look it up and then do a little cut on the video to say what it was. But they did something and everyone said, oh no, that's rubbish, and I think they pulled back on it. But yeah, more and more cars moving to this subscription service, feature on demand. Porsche do it as well. You can get some parking features enabled on the Taycan. That whole shift towards always paying for your car and its features, it's not great.
No, particularly when you pay as much as you do in the first place.
Yeah.
So the situation, this I ordered, and I think the price differential of about 10% is because I'd ordered it so long ago when it was at a different price.
It's gone up,
It's now gone up, and of course they talked to me about the price differential and then chose to waive it. So really happy with them. From that point of view, they've done really well.
Yeah, if you put your order in on a Ferrari now, you pay the price that it is at the time of delivery, believe it or not. And of course, a lot of those customers have what's an extra 30, 40 grand here and there, Nice place to be.
Well, I got to say, the whole process actually was really good.
Yeah.
I took out not the M60 model and felt that it was just so much more fun to drive, and put my order down, and I would have said, what's the delays now? Year and a half or whatever it is, and I think it was 9 months. 8-9 months.
That's good, isn't it? So, you've not had the car that long, really.
And I haven't driven it very much because, as you know, I was ill before Christmas. So.
Yeah. But has it sort of met the expectations you had of it, or has it surpassed them?
Surpassed them. I never expected it to be this much fun, and also to be as practical as it is, because again, BMW not exactly known for being the most practical, but as you say, they're drivers' cars. Yeah, good. One other thing as well, noticed, just one pedal, right? Yep.
So this car, it can adapt, or you can turn on full one pedal driving, which you can't do in the Taycan. As soon as you come off the electrons, the brake on the Taycan, it moves, starts to roll forward, just like you would in a nice auto. This, you can come to a full stop when you come off the gas, not without pressing the brake.
Completely.
The driving experience is very good. Anything that with this car right now that you've seen that makes you go, I'm not so sure about that?
I think I would have kind of expected it to be a lot more luxurious, to have more, if you like, the bolstered type of seats,
Yeah,
even
they're
in
not
the back.
proper full-on buckets, are
No,
they?
they're not.
Buckety, but not
Yes.
not
Ish.
full. Yeah, maybe hyacinth bucket level, not full bouquet. And you notice when you come off the gas there, because you've got that regen, it's like hitting a wall. Obviously you can configure that.
And here, when you're actually just driving, you see that the noise is not invasive. It doesn't come in. It's only
when you give it some
welly and accelerator.
some beans up to the speed limit,
Yes.
but never a mile per hour beyond.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. So you've got the ID3, you've got the EQS 450. It's funny, I read an article in Autocar. They were comparing this to the EQS 5. What was it? The 580.
580.
580, the AMG version.
Yeah.
It's not. You have to compare this car, the size of it, with, for example, the likes of an e-tron, perhaps, maybe an I-Pace.
It'd probably be the Macan as well now with the
the electric Macan. It's that kind of size car, but of course they're probably comparing it with the AMG EQS because the performance of this is ballistic. It's so quick for a car that's this big.
And the big
it almost
battery.
shouldn't do what it does. The handling as well. What would you say that's like?
It's incredible. It feels. It's not quite as good as R8, but it's really, really close.
Well, I mean, an R8 engine behind you, flat on the floor car, isn't it? So probably no comparison there. But
it feels very, very similar in terms of the steering, the handling, and everything else. So, it's really comfortable. The sound system is brilliant in the car. And for me, it isn't a difficult choice when I come out. Which car am I going to drive? And sooner or later, what will happen is I've worked out which ones I drive the most in order to be able to get rid of the others.
Yeah, so you've got 3 cars on the table right now, the ID3, the EQS, and this, the iX. Which one are you likely to keep? Or which
At the moment, I'm going to keep the EQS and this one and get rid of the ID3 because I used the ID3 as a daily runabout. But what I've found is I come out, the key I've got in my hand is this one.
Right.
And I don't feel that it's so
It's not an
big.
old age problem, is it?
Well, one of.
Yeah. I forget where I live sometimes, so that's all right.
No, the big difficulty is really sort of what would you take to go down to your local supermarket.
Right.
Normally that's going to be the ID3, but this is so much fun to drive and it's so comfortable, and it's not as big or difficult to park. So,
well, not with all the on-screen metering going on there, which is great.
All the gizmos.
Yeah.
But it's just more fun to drive.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything. We'll wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks, Keith, for bringing us out on this. It's been great. Glad you're enjoying it, and it is a wonderful purchase. Really, not seen many of these on the thing. I think only one other M60 I've seen on the road, so great buy. Don't forget to like, sub. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you soon on the next one. Bye for now.
Thank you. Good.